What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
What is up, guys? Welcome back here to WagerTalk TV. This is Puck Time. I am Andrew McInnis, joined by Carmine Bianco and The Prez in his usual Wednesday spot. Happy to have a little guest appearance yesterday, but Prez is going to be breaking down some games with us today. Of course, we do have two games, Montreal and Winnipeg, and Vegas Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche. We do have the Avalanche trying to keep things going. I mean, they absolutely ran over the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll see how they can respond, but I'm going to bring in Carmine Bianco first. How was the night last night, Carmine? What's going on for tonight?
Night was good. From a viewing fan point of view, watching the game, that Carolina-Tampa game was a really good one. It's so odd. This Tampa Bay team is so good that they're just taking advantage of anything that's given to them. You look at the final analytic numbers from that game, and the expected goals were 3.05 to 1.37 for Carolina. But Tampa took advantage of the few shots that they got and got the job done. I'm happy that there's two games tonight, Andrew, because let me tell you, when you have an early game and then you have no NHL hockey game after that, I started channel surfing. It is the worst thing you can do. First thing I came across was border security. And there's some guy trying to explain to a border security guard how 60 pellets of cocaine got into his system. I don't know how it got there, officer. You know what I mean? And then I find the dumbest show ever, extreme couponing. This lady is so happy that she bought $1,200 worth of groceries for $3.12. That's all fine and dandy, but your kids are going to be eating Tic Tacs, Gatorade, and toothpaste for the next month. It has to be one of the dumbest shows I have ever seen. But with that said, Prez, how are you doing?
Are we supposed to laugh, clap? I mean, how many hours did you spend rehearsing? That was brilliant, Bald Man. Brilliant.
That was planned for sure.
Wow, Carb. And he could have kept going. And then at 11 o'clock, I showed up, and it was night court. And there was a bald guy named Bull. Who's a bald guy named Bull? I just got, and on and on. Anyway, I am thrilled to be here. And you know what, guys? It was a pleasure to come on yesterday to give Andrew his kudos. I am now 30-something hours removed from the Leaf loss, and I feel incredible. It is a gorgeous day. I'm going to sit at the pool. I found a new show to watch, Extreme Couponing, which is exciting as hell. I mean, Jesus. Seeing people save all that money. Andrew, I lost my play last night in hockey. I had Carolina. I won my 5% on the Nuggets. And you know how good my 5% have been, Andrew? I won that game twice. I mean, I am so good at 5% plays. I win the same play twice. With all that said, that was one of the best basketball games I've ever seen in my life. I guess the referee who made up a phantom call at the dying seconds of regulation knew that overtime was going to be so great that they had to get there. Shout out to Dame. I lost my shit last night. If ever you guys... My kid came downstairs last night and said, "Dad, watching you watch sports is a reality TV show." I literally stood at the TV when they were throwing free throws that I needed, and I would like rub like I'd be like, I love you," and then I would be like, I'd rub above the basket so that there's no dirt or anything to prevent the ball from going in the basket. It was intense. Anyway, good to be on Puck Time, everybody. First time in my life I have back-to-back 5% plays. I had one last night at 1. I have one tonight. Let's get to it, man.
It's good to have you, Prez. You're bringing the energy. I'm just super happy to see you watching basketball. Whether it's the fourth quarter, like you always say, or whether it's late in the game. I'm a huge basketball fan. You know, I host Puck Time, but I love basketball. Played it throughout my whole life. Still play it. It made me happy, Prez, to even exchange 2 or 3 texts with you about basketball. Also, did you get a haircut, Prez?
No, I did not. I just look so damn good. Andrew.
You combed your hair today.
I do want to say something. I do want to say it's so funny. I'm like the tall guy in this group. If you look at the screen, and I'm 5'7". Anyway, basketball is probably the stupidest sport in the world. Now, I love betting it, and I win betting it, but there is nothing stupider. I mean, the fouls are so random, it's ridiculous.
Well, there goes the nice compliment. See, that it was just positive vibes only. Well, it was supposed to be just nice positive
Andrew,
vibes.
I love talking. Andrew, hug me, Andrew. Hug me. Let's spoon. You could be the outside. I don't care. But I mean, the fact that I think basketball is one of the stupidest sports on the planet doesn't mean I don't want to talk basketball with you. I watch basketball every day of my life, bro. Every day. The stupidest rule in the history of sports exists in basketball. Come back to me at the end of the show, and I will tell you that rule. Let's get into it.
Well, I'm going to go to Carm. We're going to go to Carm first for the Vegas Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche. First, I will say Colorado minus 200. Vegas Golden Knights plus 170. You can get the plus 1.5 at minus 150. Total sits at 5.5, Carmine. We all know what happened in game 1. There's no secret. It was an absolute dominant performance from the Colorado Avalanche. How do you expect game 2 to go, Carm?
Yeah, it's this is a Colorado team that we saw what they did in game 1. We thought that this would be one of those. I hate to say a throwaway game. You never want to think a division final game is a throwaway game, but Vegas came off a very taxing series with the Minnesota Wild and just didn't have it in game 1. The switch to Lehner, and they got to him early and often. We just don't know how good this Colorado team is, or whether Vegas bounces back. I talked about on yesterday's show that I thought Vegas would show up tonight and it would be a much better performance. But I keep reviewing a lot of these numbers over the last couple of days, analytic numbers, and just Colorado's getting so much scoring throughout that lineup. And sometimes you get these teams that just do not lose. We saw it last night in the Tampa Bay game. A team that didn't get many chances but scored the goals and took advantage of their chances. It's going to be very tough for this Vegas team going in there. The price is where it should be. The total is where it should be. In all honesty, this it's one of those ones where we talked about it during the regular season, Andrew. I always say you ride a streak. You never get in front of a streak. A streak only ends once. Does it end tonight? I'm not entirely sure, but you've got to go a pretty long way back to find the last time this Colorado team lost a game. In their last 20, they only lost to Vegas 3-2 in OT. So that's 19-0-1, their last 20 home games. This team is just playing a lights out hockey right now.
Yep.
Peter DeBoer is named as goalie already. This is something he normally doesn't do, but we all knew what was going to happen. We knew it was going to be Marc-Andre Fleury in net tonight, so there's no surprise there. He's in goal. Nothing announced for Colorado, but we obviously know they're going with Grubauer. So as far as goalies are, we know what's going to happen tonight. Again, Colorado knows that they're going to get a push tonight from this Vegas team, but they're going to want to head back to Vegas with a 2-0 lead. And getting a 2-0 lead in a 7-game series is now after one in the past series. I think it was the Trotz one, 332 and 50. That is 332 wins, 50 losses for teams with a 2-0 lead in a 7-game series, almost 87%. Tampa has that lead right now. Colorado can have that same 2-0 lead in the series, and it's very tough to overcome those ones. For me, it's going to be the Avalanche tonight and a lean to the over as well.
Avalanche and a lean to the over for Carmine. Guys, one thing that I have failed to mention on this show a couple different times, I want to mention today, the advantage you have at home. Number one, you get the last change, which is huge, absolutely huge in hockey, but huge in playoff hockey. The referee goes up to the visiting bench, tells them and the coach they're allowed to bring out their players for the new shift, and then they go to the home team and tell them, okay, now you've seen who they're bringing out. It's your turn to bring out your players. And I feel like specifically in this series, it's going to be huge. The battle of the matchups, the coaching battle for these two guys, the fact that Colorado gets to see which line, that Pete DeBoer is tossing out there and then match it up with his choice is absolutely huge. So home ice advantage is not always just about the crowd, which I think it gets very confused in the NHL with people betting and watching this sport that might be a little bit new to the sport as well. And also you're putting your stick down second in the face-off dots. You kind of get better position in the face-off circle. So I just want to mention that because I feel like in this series in particular, it's definitely huge to be able to get that last change. And I feel like we don't mention that enough on this show. Prez, a lot of people give credit for how fast Vegas is, but I think Joe Sakic has to have some credit towards him for the Colorado Avalanche, for the development through the draft and through trade of what he's done, not only for the forwards, but for defensemen. When you have guys like Samuel Girard, Cale Makar, those guys are fast. They have vision. They're young. That pass that Makar made to Landeskog, not many defensemen in this league are making passes like that. So I actually think that physicality has to go up for the Vegas Golden Knights. They have to get pucks deep. I know you mentioned about coaches making adjustments, making changes, not carrying the puck in, but instead dumping it to a corner. And I feel like that's kind of the style and the role that Vegas has to take on.
Yeah, listen, Andrew, a lot of great points you made. And yeah, the home ice advantage in hockey is absolutely massive for that reason. And especially when playing a team like the Avs with that big line that they have at the top of their lineup. Vegas is going to be able to match their checkers up against them, but only in Vegas, not in Colorado. So that was a really, really great point. I look at this game and I think to myself, Jake Allen going to play tonight? What do you think, Andrew? Are they going to take Carey Price out of the net tonight?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Exactly. No, I get your point. I get your point. No.
What the hell was that coach thinking?
But Prez, that game Vegas is not on Leonard though. That's not his fault. Losing 7-1 isn't his fault.
No, but had they have lost 3-1 or 4-1, I mean, what the hell was that coach thinking? Anyway,
I don't know.
Look, Colorado is a monster. I've been telling everybody that all year. I was writing my power poll. They were always my number one team. We had a guy in the chat room and on YouTube. Avs suck, Avs suck. Avs are winning the Stanley Cup, Andrew, but I don't necessarily know if they're going to win tonight. Minus 200, no chance in hell I'm taking that bet. I lean on Vegas at plus 1.5, but I really, really like the over in this game, Andrew. 5.5. Nobody is shutting this Colorado team down. And one of our listeners in the chat room wrote a great piece while you were talking about it. And he said, Vegas better get with the shootout or they're going to be left behind. I don't think this is going to be a defensive, a monster defensive series. We have so much speed on the ice. There's so much open space. I think we're going to see a bunch of goals tonight. And I do like Vegas at plus 1.5, but I will say if Vegas loses tonight and then they get beat bad in the series, I would look back to game one for one of the stupidest goalie changes I've ever seen in my life. I am 100% positive Carey Price will be in the net tonight. And Fleury should have been in the net in game one. I lean on Vegas plus 1.5, and I love the over, bro.
I'm going to rebut that, Lawrence.
Of course you're going to rebut me.
Of course I am. I don't think it. Yes, you want to see Fleury in there, but it's not a bad move because he could be a starter for any other team and was a starter for this team.
So could Jake Allen.
And you have to look at how Peter DeBoers is. He played every single minute of 7 games against Minnesota, and they were. He didn't get a break in any of the games.
Price.
He kept them in the first games. I get that, but we're not talking about Carey Price. We're talking about this series. So if Peter DeBoers and the Vegas Golden Knights, if their intention was to come to Colorado and win one of the 2 games, it is better to have Fleury in net for game 2 and not game 1. You give him the rest. You hope that Lehner maybe does something in that game and steals in the game. If he doesn't, you now have a goalie who's had 3 or 4 days off and can come back, and you try and steal game 2 and head back home to Vegas with home ice. You can say it's a bad move or not, but what happens if he was blown out game 1, blown out game 2? What do you do in game 3? You come back with Lehner then in game 3 and start Lehner in game 3? No, you can't do that. It was the right move in my opinion.
So Carm, let's try this segment again. Andrew, I thought putting Lehner in was brilliant. Gave Fleury a little bit of rest, sets up a great game 2. Carm, rebuttal? I mean, I know you just want to argue with me, so I figured we'd go both ways.
I'll settle things. I'll settle things. I like the over.
It's a little different with looking at Price, because the Leafs did absolutely nothing in 3 games. Price could have played without pads on, and Montreal probably wins those last 3 games. The Leafs did absolutely nothing. Minnesota's a completely different team, Lawrence.
Anyway, Carm,
and Jake Allen. No. And Lawrence, Jake Allen to Carey Price is not Robert Lehner to Marc-Andre Fleury. 2 completely different scenarios. Robert Lehner could go to any team and be a starter, pretty much any team in the NHL. You can't say that about Jake Allen.
Jake Allen had a pretty good year, but
and from now on, I would like to be referred to as Mr. Presman, Carm. That's Mr. Presman, please.
Guys, I'm on the over in this game. If anybody cares, I like the over as well.
Too.
Just like Prez does. I like over 5.5. I just do not see the tempo changing in this game. Vegas will not beat the Colorado Avalanche unless they score 3 or 4 goals. Put that on record for me. Let's jump into our next game, game 1 of a series that has just an atrocious schedule, just like they had with the Leafs. An absolutely horrible schedule because the Canadian division has to catch up to the other divisions. We actually won't see too many, weekend games. We'll see some back-to-backs again in this series. The Canadiens and the Jets. The price -140, all the way from -115, opened up at -105, +120 current price for the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm going to throw it to Prez here first, but I will say this. Situational handicapping is what a lot of people like to use. I would describe myself as one of those people in a lot of different ways. None of us know what goes on inside a locker room. None of us have, these coaches in our back pocket or their phone numbers. We're not talking to anybody like that. The media acts like they know everybody personally, but we saw what happened after Vegas went through a 7-game series. They play a team that was rested, that was pretty much in the exact same scenario as the Winnipeg Jets. But one factor I want to lay out is the fact that the last 3 games the Winnipeg had to win to beat the Edmonton Oilers all went to overtime. They weren't just easy victories, but they had a lot of rest, over a week of rest. But I'll say one thing. When you're running hot in betting, you're running hot. What do you want to do? You're excited to place your next ticket. You're excited to watch the next game that you're on. When I'm playing basketball and I've hit 4 3-pointers in a row, I can't wait to get the ball in my hand and shoot that next 3-pointer. What I'm saying here, Canadiens, fresh off 3 games, back against the wall, great defensive hockey, Carey Price playing out of his mind, and the zone exits were unbelievable. Anybody calling it a trap, what the Montreal Canadiens were doing, I couldn't disagree more, because we had a forecheck. They had a massive forecheck one player would go at somebody, they beat that player, the next guy would go up. Sure, they stuck things out of the blue line, but I think momentum's a huge factor. So do you ride with the rest or do you ride with the momentum? I'll get your thoughts, Prez. Definitely a situational bet on spot here for the Jets.
Andrew, before we get into that, lots of your friends in the chat room today just showing up and talking about Leafs suck, Leafs this, Leafs that. You know, you got to be a really jealous person to come into the chat room and diss a team that is now golfing. Like, move on, guys. Move on. We got shit
Literally,
to talk
Mitch
about.
Marner
We got
booked a tee
bets to
time.
make. Yeah,
Yesterday,
exactly.
actually, Mitch Marner was caught on the course the day after he lost.
Oh, Mitch Marner, dude. Oh, please trade him for Seth Jones straight up. You know, throw a first rounder in there, please. But anyway, guys, move on, man. I've moved on. Go Habs. Andrew, I really like the under in this game tonight. I think we're going to see a real monster goaltending duel. And I think, you know, we've saw it with the Habs against the Leafs. The only way the Habs are going to win is to play to the under. And we saw it with Winnipeg and Edmonton. This Winnipeg team, look, I think they have the best the best front nine in the league if you go that deep. But this is a team that is very defensive minded. Just two incredible goalies. I know you mentioned both in their prime or both play. Carey Price is past his prime, and that shows how great Carey Price is. I love the under tonight, dude. I think the under is the play. And look, I'm looking forward to this hockey. I'm more looking forward to the Colorado-Vegas game because I just love all the speed on the ice. But yeah, under for me, bro.
All right, Prez looking towards the under. Carm, I'm actually on the first period over, and then I'm actually looking towards the game slowing down after that due to that situational coming off the game 7, facing a rested team. I actually have a lean towards the first period over 1.5, but then the game slowing down after that. Any thoughts on that, Carm?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, even though we know the goalies and who they're going to be, even though they're not confirmed, we know it's going to be Price, we know it's going to be Hellebuck. I'm just wondering if this is going to be similar to game 1 of the Colorado series. You have a Montreal team coming off an absolutely emotional win in game 7, coming back from down 3-1 in a series where no one gave them a chance to even win one game, let alone 4 games. And now they've got to, a day or two later, get right back at it, travel to Winnipeg, the 2,500 fans in the stands. So there's going to be some noise in Winnipeg, in that Winnipeg sort of whiteout. And you've got to now bring that energy level back up because Winnipeg's going to be there. I'm not worried about the fact that Winnipeg had time off after sweeping Edmonton, because they did the exact same, because Colorado did the same thing. And I'm not comparing teams, but Colorado was off 6 days or so after they knocked off the St. Louis Blues. So I think as far as this could be one of those games where you just look at Winnipeg, you look at the over, and then you start looking at game 2, and can Montreal win game 2? I think it stacks up against Montreal here. I think it's a tough spot for them tonight, just because of the fact that it is. Listen, they're professional athletes. I get it, but sometimes when you come off that absolute emotional high, we see a team just not perform the next time out. We've seen it with teams that have clinched titles in any sport, and the next game, because they were partying the night before, and I'm not saying these guys were partying, but they just don't bring it. And Winnipeg is going to. So will Montreal be able to match the Winnipeg intensity level tonight? I'm not entirely sure. And with that in mind, I would lean to Winnipeg and the over here.
Winnipeg and the over for Carmine, and I get it. I think that would I as a fan of this team, though, guys, would I wish Montreal had 7 days off? No, not at all. After winning a 7-game series, after limping into the playoffs, like many people say, would I want this team to forget about what just happened, about the rally they just had? Definitely not. Why would I want them to have 7 days off to think about what just happened. Maybe I'd want them to have
off.
2 or 3 days off. Yeah, 9 days. Why would I want the Montreal Canadiens to have that many days off? I'd prefer them to have maybe more than 1 day, but I don't know. I'm a fan of momentum, and I feel like they do have that dating back to before the playoffs started. Let's take a look at how the Winnipeg Jets were playing, losing to Ottawa, barely competing against Calgary. Connor Hellebuck allowing 4 goals against the Montreal Canadiens. This guy is not unstoppable. He's not a brick wall. But I will say one thing, guys, and this is going to be, I always try and show you guys I'm not biased, even though everybody in the chat room thinks I am. Montreal does allow shots, but they're shots from the outside. And I'm disappointed in myself for not playing enough of these shot props for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think it was 6 out of 7 games, Austin Matthews cashed his shot prop. Mitch Marner, I believe it was 4 or 5 out of 7 games, cashed his shots on goal prop. I'm looking at Nikolai Ehlers over 2.5 shots, but Mark Scheifele over 2.5 shots, guys, plus 125. Really like that prop, guys. Really, really like that prop. I'm a huge fan of dangerous shots being a little bit different from, actual shots on goal. Mark Scheifele over 2.5 shots connecting on to Carey Price at plus 125. I figured that was a pretty good number there. The Montreal attack is pretty random. As we all know, it's spread out. It's not consistent. I'm going to throw it to you, Carmine. Let us know what you have up for grabs tonight and what your best bet is for the show.
Yeah, a couple plays up on the NHL card tonight. It's been a profitable NHL playoffs thus far. I just need to, I think, stay away from the Carolina Hurricanes for the time being because this Tampa team is just way too tough right now. And those games they could be 4 straight 2-1 games for Tampa Bay where they get outplayed and win the series 4-0. With that said, I don't want to go off on a tangent. Like I said, a couple plays up for tonight. Nothing in soccer yet. I just tomorrow there's a publication that you can print off on my page. It's the Euro 2020 preview and predictions. It's just a little over 20 pages long. It has got everything for the upcoming Euros that go from June 11th to July 11th. Every game for you guys down in the States is on ESPN, all 51 games. You can pick that up for free on my page. As well, there's information on how you can win one of my 2 from my collection, 2 framed autographed Cristiano Ronaldo jerseys, the Manchester United 2005-2006 jersey and the 2019-2020 Juventus Ronaldo autographed jersey as well. That information's all there. A video will be out on tomorrow as well. Kelly Stewart and I go through the Euros. It's about 20-25 minutes long. A ton of information there as well. As far as my best bet for the show, I'm going to give you guys the Don Buster special. I'm going to go with a first period play and take the Winnipeg Jets minus half a goal plus 180 for my good friend down in Mexico, Don Buster. That one's for you, my friend. Let's see if we can cash one.
That is a great price. It's a great bet. Can't argue with that, Carmine. Great bet there. And make sure you guys check out the publication. Carmine worked very, very hard at it. I think he lost more hair on his body while writing it. He was stressing over it, staying up at night. So make sure you guys check out that publication. Can't wait for the Euros, Carm. Going to be awesome. Prez, before we go to your best bet and what you have up, what's going on today on WagerTalk today besides you and Teddy hitting your big 5%ers?
Steve Merrill joining us and Arthur DeCesar. And tomorrow, my good pal, Mr. Lasagna, Carmine Bianco joining us. Very excited about that. I have a big card up tonight. I have 2 hockey bets. One of them is a 5% play, and I have an NBA bet. And Andrew, my best bet on the show today is Vegas plus 1.5 goals. As well, I just want to make mention the stupidest rule in all of sports. Imagine tonight, 3-2 game, Colorado up. The Vegas goalie, the Vegas goalie covers the puck with like 3 seconds left in Vegas's end, and the coach calls a timeout. And then the ref picks the puck up and skates it all the way to the Colorado end. And they have the face-off there for no apparent reason whatsoever. Can you imagine in NFL football, 30 seconds to go, Brady's got the ball at his 20, timeout, ref picks the ball up.
Allow me to explain.
Marches it all the way to the other 20.
There actually are two different types of timeouts in basketball. There's two different types of timeouts.
Yeah, one where the ref can just move a ball.
30-second timeout and a full timeout. You only get so many of each of them, and the full timeout advances the ball. The 30-second just gives you a break to the bench, and you stay in the same spot.
Andrew, you think I'm an idiot? All you did was explain to me the rule. You didn't explain why it makes sense. There should never be... they literally move a ball to the other end of the court for absolutely zero reason.
It's the same reason in the NHL. In the NHL, hold on. When you get a penalty, right, on the other end of the ice, where does the power play always start?
Because it's a penalty, Andrew. Because it's a penalty.
I am losing brain cells. I am losing brain cells listening to this.
I'm entertaining this. I'm entertaining this. Prez, he has a 5% play up tonight, guys. He has been crazy with them. We're going to hear from him probably in our texting group chat tonight. All of you guys will get to see Prez again, whether you like it or not, in 30 minutes on Wager Talk today with Teddy and Art DeCesar and Steve Merrill.
Whether you like it or not? They don't have to show up and watch, Andrew.
No,
Nobody
they do.
Is
they
making
do. They
them.
Do.
Okay, fine.
Hey, I have the over 5.5 between Vegas and Colorado for my best bet, guys. Minus 115 between these two teams. I do not think they will get there the same way that they got to over in game one. I don't think it'll be the same score line, but I do believe that it will be hard for that pace to slow down, and we will see some goals again tonight between these two teams. Over 5.5, minus 115. I have French Open action, literally first serve starting very, very soon, probably about 15-20 minutes time. French Open tennis action, also have a play at 3 o'clock Eastern in the French Open, and a 4% best bet in the MLB. You can find the power plays on the screen in front. The Buster special from Carmine Bianco, Jets first period, minus a half goal. Great price there on that. Prez with the Golden Knights plus 1.5. And I have the Golden Knights Avalanche over 5.5. On behalf of Carmine, the Prez, I am Andrew. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here on Wager Talk TV.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.